Want to shine at your next dinner party? Let's nail the etiquette. Picture this. You've been invited to a lovely dinner party. The table's set, the wine is flowing, but all of a sudden you do something and you feel really awkward. And you're worried that instead of being the honored guest, you're going to be the social faux pas legend. Let's give you some skills so you have confidence, whether you're at a formal dinner party or a backyard barbecue. Hi, I'm Tracy Marshall. I'm a wife, mom, and grandmother. I'm also a former executive and founder of several organizations. But now my job is to help you succeed by tackling the subjects no one taught you in school. Let's discuss family, culture, relationships, and even the news. But today we're doing something a little different. We're tackling mealtime manners, or the art of etiquette at a dinner party. Let's go. So whether you're in a restaurant or in someone's home, the first step, obviously, is how to be seated. So today I've got my handsome husband, Billy, here to help me demonstrate. So he's going to pull out the chair. Ladies are going to step in front of it. And the first most important thing is to feel for that chair with the back of your calf. I think I've told you all that I used to teach etiquette at a local high school. And one time a girl forgot to do this. The guy was holding her chair, but she missed the chair and landed in her formal gown on her backside in the middle of the restaurant. So I'm feeling for the chair. I'm going to sit down, but I'm not going to plunk my weight down too hard so it's not difficult for him to slide the chair in. There you go. First things first, what do you do with your napkin? Well, obviously, it just goes in your lap. And if you're in a restaurant, you do it right away, as soon as you're seated. If you're in someone's home, you want to keep an eye on your host and don't put your napkin in your lap until your host does. Otherwise, it can feel like you're rushing him or her. Okay, so next, let's talk about this ridiculous amount of silverware. And you know, if you're in a really elegant restaurant, in some cases, you might even have more than what's here. But let's talk about this basic table setting. Let's go from outside in, because that's your general rule, right? So outside, you've got your salad fork. Next, your dinner fork, slightly larger. On this side, on the outermost, you've got a soup spoon. Then you've got a dinner spoon, table knife, or your basic dinner knife. And at the top, you've got a dessert fork and then a dessert spoon. The spoon is there if you order something like custard or ice cream. Or maybe the spoon is just there because you might have after dinner coffee. If you're in a really nice restaurant, the waitstaff will take away pieces that you're not going to need as you order. So for example, in your first or second course, if you're given a choice of soup or salad, and say you pick the soup, your waiter is likely to whisk away your salad fork so it's not there. And that makes the whole thing easier too. But let's talk for a minute too about where it all goes. What if, say, you're at your new boyfriend's home for Thanksgiving dinner and his mother hands you a pile of silverware and says, "Would you mind setting the table for me?" What do? Here's a quick way to remember. Okay, this is a silly but easy way to help you remember where everything goes. So forks generally go on the left, and fork has 4 letters, and so does the word left. 4 letters. Knives and spoons go on the right. Knife and spoon both have 5 letters, just like the word right. So in that moment, someone hands you a pile of silverware and asks you to help, you can remember forks, left, they go on the left. Knives and spoons, they go on the right. And these pieces at the top, if you're setting them, you're going to set them just like this so that if they were to go beside the plate, they would slide exactly into place, the fork on the left and the spoon on the right. So I'm going to put them back right in front. Another thing that's confusing is all this stuff on the table. I don't think that I have been to a single dinner party in my adult life where someone hasn't said, "Wait a minute, now which one's my bread plate?" Okay, so your simple, silly trick to remember that is just do your hands like this. This is a B. Well, that's a B. This one makes a D. So bread is on your left and your drink is on your right. This larger glass is going to be your water glass. And then the smaller bowl but taller glass is going to be for wine. And again, if you don't drink wine and the waiter comes and offers it, if you say no or no thanks, that's perfectly fine. He'll probably whisk away your wine glass. Each time a new course is served, you want to wait until everyone at the table has been served before you start eating that course. And especially if you're in someone's home, you want to wait until the hostess has started eating that course because you never want to rush her. She may have something going on in the kitchen and you don't want her to feel pressed. All right, you've been served soup. How do you eat soup? First of all, you're going to pick up your soup spoon. It's usually going to have a larger bowl and be on the outside of your silverware on the right. You want to skim the soup across the top and not dig down deep. Why? Because you want to be sure that that first mouthful you take isn't going to burn you. Also, you want to scoop the soup, for lack of a better word, away from your body. I used to teach these high school kids a really silly little poem to help them remember, but it went like this. As the ship sails out to sea, so my spoon sails away from me. I know, cringe. That's pretty bad. But maybe it's so cringy it helps you remember. The reason you do that is so you don't accidentally slosh it in your own lap. And whatever you do, don't blow on your soup and definitely don't slurp it. And when you're done with the soup, if you're pausing in between bites of soup, for example, say you want to take a bite of your bread, you can leave your spoon in the soup bowl while you reach for your bread. But once you're done with your soup, you want to put the spoon on the service plate or the plate right below it. What if you don't have a service plate under your soup? Well, go to a nicer restaurant. No, I'm kidding. If you don't have a service plate, it's fine in that case to leave the soup spoon in the bowl. Okay, how and when do you pass things around the table? First of all, you don't have to always ask someone to hand it to you. It's okay to reach, as long as you don't have to reach across someone's food or you don't have to stand up and reach too far. But in this case, for example, it'd be fine for me to pick up this bread basket, take a roll, and then always going to pass to the right or counterclockwise. And speaking of things moving counterclockwise, you'll notice that everything in the meal really comes in from the left and goes out from the right. In a really fine dining establishment, they will bring your food or your next course in from your left and remove it from the right. It's kind of good to know because then you can be more aware of the waitstaff and you're less likely to bump into something as your plates are coming and going. But remember this, what if someone picks up the bread basket, for example, or the butter or the salt and pepper, and they start passing it clockwise? What do? Well, you do what Emily Post says. You're too polite to notice. If it's going the wrong direction, don't point that out. That would be rude. Just go with it. And speaking of passing, if someone asks, say, for the salt, or they just ask for the pepper, you're going to pass them both. They always stay together. So whenever you're passing the salt and pepper, remember they're a pair and they stay together. What do you do when you suddenly gotta go? Actually, you don't say anything. You just go. No one needs to know where you're going. Really, they know, and they don't want to hear about it. If you feel like you need to say something, you can say, please excuse me, or I'll be right back. But definitely don't say where you're going or what you're doing. And men should rise when a lady leaves the table, and then the man, at least to her left, should rise when she comes back and help her with her chair again. But ladies, be reasonable. You don't want to make the men be jumping up and down all throughout dinner. And when you do go, what do you do with your napkin? There used to be some debate about whether to leave it on the table or leave it on your chair, but it's pretty settled now. You want to leave your napkin just loosely folded next to your plate, generally on the left side when you have to step away. The reason is your napkin may have food on it, it may have lipstick on it, and you don't want to set that on the upholstered chair. Okay, let's talk about your bread. Like you've been served a piece of bread or a roll, and it's sitting on your bread plate, remember? There's your B. You don't want to slice your roll in half and butter the whole thing. When the butter is passed around the table or when it comes to you, you use your bread knife, take some butter and put it on the side of your bread plate. Then you tear off one piece of bread at a time and butter that piece of bread. You can use your knife and butter that small one bite that you tore off at a time, or you can even dip that piece that you tore off in the butter and eat it one piece at a time. The only time it's acceptable to butter an entire piece of bread is if you have toast at breakfast. What if you're in someone's home and the hostess is serving something you don't like? Well, you should take it anyway. Take a few bites and even you can move it around on your plate and make it look like you tried. If it's something you're absolutely allergic to, then it's okay to say, I'm so sorry, I can't have shellfish. But you want to say it quietly with an apology and not make your hostess feel bad and not draw attention at the table to yourself. And what do you do when things go wrong? What if it's a small thing, like you drop a piece of silverware? You don't want to pick it up in a restaurant. You don't pick it up and put it back on the table because the idea is, what if something gross is on the floor and you've just brought it to the table? You want to leave it there and ask the waitstaff to get you a new piece of silverware. Likewise, if you're in someone's home, then it's okay probably to pick it up and as discreetly as you can, ask your hostess for a new clean piece of silverware. What if the crisis is something bigger? A number of years ago, I was out to dinner with the members of a hiring committee for a law firm in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was hoping to get hired. We went into this fancy steakhouse and they were dropping names about people who were in the restaurant while we were eating. I ordered a steak, of course, picked up my fork, and they had brought me a steak knife, went to cut into my steak and spun the entire steak off my plate and into my lap. I'll never forget that moment. And you know what? I don't know if what I did was right. Honestly, there's not any etiquette in any book out there that says what to do if you put your entire steak in your lap. But I picked the steak up, put it back on my plate, and kept going. I think the one thing I did right in that circumstance was not make a big deal of it. If you spill your drink, if you drop something, if you put your steak in your lap, don't make a big deal of it. You can laugh momentarily, laugh at yourself, of course, but then just keep going. And if the mistake is someone else's fault, that's your opportunity to shine. Be gracious, be forgiving, and overlook the offense. I had a friend who is a manager at an exclusive club for many years, and he said on more than one occasion, he had had someone tip him $50, $100 to have the wait staff mess something up, like spill the water or bring the wrong order, because it was a job interview and the person doing the hiring wanted to see how the person being interviewed reacted under stress. Did they get flustered? Did they make a big deal? And worst of all, were they mean, angry, or rude to the wait staff? It's important in those moments to be as gracious as you possibly can to minimize the disruption, make it no big deal, and just keep going. Okay, I ordered a fabulous steak and I'm really excited, but how do I eat this steak? Well, carefully, one piece at a time. But here's technically how you do it. So you're going to take your dinner fork and your steak knife. The great wait staff at this restaurant has whisked away my table knife and replaced it with a steak knife. So we're going to stab the fork with my left hand. All this is assuming you're right-handed. Cut off one piece at a time. You want to cut off one piece because you don't want the whole thing to get cold. So you just cut off that one piece at a time, lay the knife down with the blade facing you, switch hands, spear that piece of meat you just cut off, and enjoy your steak. Start the process all over again. Switch hands, spear, slice, cut that one piece, switch hands, and enjoy it. Okay, all that hand switching is inefficient, I know. But remember, the point here is not to be in a hurry. And if you're in Europe, they do it differently there. So they'll cut a piece of meat, lay the knife down, and eat with the same hand that they were using to hold the steak down. Perfectly fine if you're in Europe, not really okay in the US. A lot of times with dessert, you'll be offered coffee. It's fine to decline the coffee if you don't want it, but don't take your coffee cup and turn it upside down. You don't want to risk chipping your hostess china. It's much better to just say no thank you. Okay, a few more things as your dinner party is wrapping up. First of all, you don't want to push your plate away. You don't need to signal that you're done. Your host will get your plate after the party or the wait staff will pick it up. When you are finished, it's fine to fold your napkin loosely and lay it on the table beside you, but you don't want to do that until you're sure everyone at your dinner party is finished. Otherwise, they'll feel rushed. So wait for everyone to be done and then place your napkin there. And the most important thing of all is to thank your host before you leave and say goodbye to your fellow party guest, mentioning their name if at all possible. These mealtime manners shouldn't feel stuffy or forced, but it is important to know how to behave, whether you're in a fancy restaurant, someone's home, or just a backyard cookout. Many of life's most important events happen over a meal. Engagements, first dates, business deals, job interviews. Lots of times they happen over a meal. And if you feel confident in what you're doing and how the meal is progressing, then you can really relax, enjoy the meal, invest in other people, and take the opportunity to shine. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you get to enjoy a lovely meal tonight. I'd love to know what you think of all this, and if you have any questions for me, I'd love to answer them. And remember, you can build the life you want, and you can succeed.